Hello there, this is Calvin from MiniPots. I got myself something this past week because it finally became available on a US website. I haven't put up too many videos, but if you've watched a few of them, you will get the hint that I like something, a game called Forbidden Psalm. The author releases different products related to it about once a year, maybe more, maybe less. These are some of his games. He does cute little zines, and I say cute, if the putting your characters through horrible trials and tribulations is cute, well, that's what he does. And this here is a collection of different zines. As you can see, it has a bunch of different things. I got this specifically because it had the Endless Dungeons, but it also has a new-ish adventure called Forbidden Wilderness, which has different minis specific to it. But this came in, I was excited about it last fall. I wanted to get it, I didn't, and you probably all could empathize with that. But I got this box in, and it's from Space Penguin Inc., which is their US retailer as far as I understand. And he did a Kickstarter last year for a game, and I want to get the title wrong, so that's why I'm doing the unboxing right now. And it came available this year, or just this past week, and there is Endless Horror from Between the Stars. I saw that wonderfully creepy, yet there's so much going on picture, and I thought, you know, that might be interesting. And this is something I got interested in after the last war. And I got interested into the last war because of a couple YouTube programmers. Gorilla Miniature and Tabletop Minions. Ash with Gorilla Miniatures. And I know I'm butchering that, but this is something else that came up that was in limited supply called Tengoku Station. And I'm Tengoku Station. Butchering the way that's said. I am sorry about that. I had a brief interruption, but this setting struck me as something really fantastic, really cool. I'd like to put some people through it, some of your characters you create, see how they work out. And I'll go over quickly what each thing is. The last thing I had to split the wrap is Dread Knights. The Kickstarter cover had an exclusive cover where it is all black with a white vampire skull, no wording, and I thought that looked cool. It was still available on the website, but I wanted this one. I liked the red. Something I'll mention a couple times. Kevin Robin Daltrey has done his own shop. So if you Google Forbidden Psalm, you go there, you'll see this. I'm going to get interrupted again in a second, so bear with me. You'll see this kill sample process, which will be my next purchase probably. Hang on. So the other game that I don't have yet, that will probably be one of my other purchases, is Kill Sample Process, and I don't have a picture of it, but it's there on his website, available in a limited edition yellow cover. Really a gorgeous cover. I hope he doesn't mind me using his, I don't know. He puts it down as his author's name, and he does a Patreon, and you can communicate to him through that. This, I've managed to read through the rules a couple times. I like to do that. Doesn't mean everything sticks, but this is a game about you have somehow become convinced you are going to be changing people over to a new cult, or there's another version of the game where you fight people that are trying to change the general populace to a new cult. And so it has the same process. If you've done anything with the Forbidden Psalm, you know you have a set of stats that you start with, and you get abilities, they're called flaws, and feats, abilities. You apply this or this to whichever. You do it in your choice of order. So your agility can be +2, it could be -1. Each thing gives a different, and you can see real quick right there. I think it's clear enough on the page. What they do, your hit points, which all RPG or even some tabletop gaming uses, is based off your toughness. Sometimes you want it that high, sometimes it can't be high. You have a choice of 20 different flaws, 20 different feats. Now this is a format in all this game, so each character is going to have these, and one of the feats even is that you don't get any flaws, or one of your flaws is you're a newbie and you don't even get any flaws, and same with a similar thing with feats. This is unusual in this game. Well, it sort of is in the last war, but where you can get mutated through different effects of things you encounter in the game. But this is neat in the sense that you can play it as ancient history. I say ancient history. It's not a setting which is set in the past, probably medieval, so around the time of the Vikings, maybe the Dark Ages, or a time in Victorian era, or you could even do it as modern. Now so like medieval weapons, you can see turn of the century, and this would be and then you have modern. You can see most of these are modern weapons. That was rather obvious, but anyway, hopefully you'll forgive me. And you have equipment, and it has the same kind of thing, and it does cool. And I'm not sure if he writes his own fiction in these books, or if he has associates write them, or a little bit of both. If you're not able to get a success, I'm not a worry, but if you have a critical failure, everything's based off of a D20. Each of the scenarios has a basic setup. It's set up where you can play 2-player, 1-player, or co-op. So go real quick to the combat is a D20 system. Hit or fail. If you hit, if you're worried damage, oversimplifying this and making it much more simple than it actually is. Hang on, I have something coming in. And that's what this video is about, or my videos, is that trying to do hubbing when you have a family. This is unusual in that there's a 6th miniature and 6 being, and that is your thing that you're trying to bring from the other world, represented there on the hilltop. Everything has specific monsters that are specific to it. Boy, that was let's see, the cosmic horrors, which would be wandering things through time and space. Crawling eye cultists, that's one of your initial opponents. And you know, and this is interesting because I really, when I first got into Forbidden Psalm, I was like, that's not for me. And I kept on doing this, but I gave it time, and it is so easy and so playable and so multi-dimensional. You get attached to your critters that you create, your beings and your players, your however, people do this all on their own. They'll create, I have miniatures, I have something that I grab that I just have pride. I have another visitor. Hang on for a second. Okay, so I'm back and I'll go over this. You create your guys, they go through the adventure. This is the first scenario, so it comes to the beginning of the end. You each awoke to the call of the endless horror. Together you joined in your worship, and now you spread the message as far as you can. Draw others into the fold so that you may spread the good word. The scenarios can be replayed after scenario 10 until a cult has at least 10 zealotry and can then approach the final ritual. Now, each of his games is different in a little bit, and it's not, once you understand the basic system, he adds these little things that make it unique. So you want to play it. Dread Knights, I read through the rules for that a couple times, and it has something different where each of your teams belongs to a philosophy, and the philosophy gives you different rewards. The last war is grim and dark. It's after the war. You're not sure how long, and you're just trying to survive. Each game it's well worth looking. There's so much variety. Convert civilians to your cause reward, in addition to +1 zealotry for converting every 2 civilians. If the cult converts 5 civilians, they gain an additional +1 zealotry. Each converted civilian also donates 10 resources to your cult at the end of the scenario. So your resources you'll use to increase your base, buy equipment, set up an offering. It goes up at a basic idea of what the terrain should look like. Obviously, if you're doing a medieval scenario, you would probably want to have like a village. How many take it in turns place? 1 civilian each until each player taking part has placed 6 civilians. So if you're playing versus or co-op, you'll have 12 civilians out there. The solo, it says deployment versus in co-op, players select a board edge. So I imagine solo play, you're just going to have originally 6 civilians. So it's going to take you a little bit longer to get where you need to go, but it might not, because if you're doing a versus, your opponent might get more civilians than you. And then it says playing as investigators. Now this is where you would be the good guys. You're trying to stop this cult creating. And it goes over details for that. There is even a different character creation chart at the front. Everything, and each one of these books has got a little bit more refined, where the setup, the opponents, it's a little bit clearer, and it is a lot of fun. So you have 10 different basic adventures, then you have the ending adventure, which is your 11. During the course of your play, you'll encounter artifacts, you'll get injuries, and then you'll have the final ritual, idea of cutting through the cosmos to bring the alien being down into the world. I like the idea of finding this. I'm interested in the mechanics of playing this. So you can play as knights or investigators. So these are the good guys trying to, it has new feats and flaws. It doesn't have as many as the cultist idea, that it has names. Now each one of these, that it has the rosters, has a similar type of motif, where you have the feats and flaws. Now this is something I thought was just so much fun. This is a space station which has been somehow, it's obviously several years in the future, and you have the groups that are trying to take over and prevent or bring the end of the space station by calling forth this alien being from the cosmos. It has a new mechanic with chems, which can alter the outplay, the way that the game plays, different equipment. Now this is, I thought was also interesting in the sense that you don't have 3 different time periods. Everything is sort of futuristic, but you have the world that is you're working in is divided up into sections. And is a illustration. If I look into it, probably have passed it. It's illustrated of where you're at, what has happened, the different things in them, and it defines each section. So from this definition, you'll get an idea of what type of sci-fi scenery you might want, or playing table, the different cults. So this goes back to something similar to Dread Knights, where you would have cults that, and it's not cults, it's a group that you associate with. The Drones Reclaimers Guild, it gives you warband creation. Each one of the different groups gives you different abilities, mutations if you're exposed to different things. The critters you'll fight, maybe the new name for it. And instead of being the knights or the investigators, you are trying to, if I remember correctly, stop the... So, sorry about that. I had something going on which I wanted to cut out and go take care of. So this is the Reclaimers, are like the good guys. They're trying to protect the space station, because after all, that's the last bit of humanity. Yeah. These have the critters. It has the different campaigns or scenarios for the campaign. Again, it's working on 10 missions, with the 11th being where you finally break through. If you're the cultist, you're trying to bring the critter, you finally break through and you end the scenario. Now, the little zines that I talked about earlier on, it's interesting. I talked about them when I showed this. It's interesting to point out that this is really, and I'm sorry to my volume to decrease so much. This one's like primarily set up for Forbidden Psalm. All the scenarios in here. He does do different scenarios for various for his other books, and he's released these in some of the zines. In fact, in some of the zines you'll find scenarios for both Dread Knights, Forbidden Psalm, and they're anywhere from 11 to 14 bucks. You can pick up the PDF for around 7, I think. It's been a little bit of time since I've looked at that. And the Forbidden Psalm is really cool because as a book it comes with 40 scenarios, I believe. I should do this, and I apologize for, but if you're interested, and it's going to hold you, it's 2 sections of scenarios, chapter 1 and chapter 2. Let's see. It's always wonderful watching this until you tell something. Yeah, 26 scenarios, and I don't think you'll do all of them because of things you achieve during the course of the adventure. Anyway, so this is the Dread Knights. This is a vampire setting where you are fighting against the vampires, or it's sort of like Underworld. There was a movie which had the vampires fighting the werewolves, I think. Let's look at this real quick. See how these scenarios for this. Depends on what I remember. Werewolf, and then you want to hunt the, this is 12 scenarios, and I'm sure a few of the scenarios in here you might even play more than once, but the monsters are werewolves, and there's a couple different stages of werewolf. You have ghosts, master vampire, ancient, ghoul, vampire familiars, which are sort of like the vampires spawn from other lesser vampires. Let's just go there. Someone else who wants some attention, so I'm going to put pause for a second. So you can become a vampire, werewolf, or ghoul. So it's again a different mechanic, a different facet to a game. The artwork is stunning. My perspective anyway, I love it. It sets the tone. You know that you're gonna be, it's all slightly crazy artwork, which is great, but you know you're going to be doing some different things that are going to be fighting different things that are associated with the werewolves. Sort of I want to say Lestat, which is not, that's a totally different vampire idea, but Nosferatu look of a vampire. You know, the primitive, and they have them in games workshops, games where it's sort of half bat, half person-ish. Then you have weather conditions for each scenario. Cool. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you did. That is what I am focusing on a little bit. Right now I'm still doing stuff for Ben Solve. This is in my personal hobby. I'm getting set up so I might be able to do a video train where I'll have some modded minis and some created minis, and I don't know how far that'll go, but it could be, you know, you play these games and they can last for 10-15 minutes, or they can last for an hour. It just depends on how things go. But I thank you for watching. If you made it this far, and I hope you enjoyed it, please remember to like, and if you're thinking about it, subscribe it. Count on getting more content related to these games and others in the future. All of them related to the topics. If you did like this, again, please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you, folks, and have yourself a great weekend. I am just really stoked. I had a PDF of this, and I could have gotten a PDF of this some time ago, but I just didn't. I was impressed after reading Forbidden Psalm, Last Word, and getting this and seeing the multi-dimensionality of the different facets. It's all the same basic mechanics, and it just is so impressive. And then to have basically 4 different types of games here. You have the science fiction one, you have the medieval, the Victorian, and then you have the era. It is so cool. This philosophies, that's the nice thing. All these books have great tables of contents, and usually there's some sort of, this is another thing I thought was really cool, the guys you create having a little bit of a sense of fighting against a greater, or against an evil or something like that. So again, I apologize for that, but you know, that's what it's about. And that's me trying to do have my fun in games when you have a family. It doesn't, my guess is it's probably more of a sort of modern / Victorian type era. And you go from there. This is it. I was originally sort of thinking around because of the Apothecary, the Mystic Arts. Those were figures that were sort of Victorian to nice soil, a little bit pre-Victorian, because no one had indoor plumbing. There's also this feature of the smog coming through, and if you're exposed to it, you can get mutated. That has shown up in a couple of his games, a similar mechanic or a similar effect. Again, I apologize for going on with this after I just ended. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I am so excited and stoked for these, and thank you. Remember to like and subscribe. Take care.